Hey there, everybody. It's Christy, the Comeback Mentor, in with another episode of Comeback Conversations. And today I want to talk about who you really are in your comeback. Yeah. So, you know how you can do all the right things, check off every box, follow every strategy. Um, I was the list maker, check it off, means I accomplished something. And then I started to measure myself and the quality and quantity of myself, which attached itself to my identity. And when I started, lacking or things got in the way and the expectation of checking things off didn't meet the mark, what happened? Because I measured myself up against those check marks in that list, I started beating myself up. And a lot of times that's what we do. We measure ourselves against something that was unintentional. It was in an effort to enhance qualities, to get the work done, to be good at what we're doing, to make sure that we get things done in a day. And when that becomes more of a habit that's ingrained into our identity, as things start to slip away, we make ourselves absolutely miserable. Absolutely miserable. And when we close off a season where we know who we were inside of that season, and we try to build something on the person that was in that season, it's not going to happen. You know why? When you're trying to build a future on top of an identity that you used to have, it's not going to work. Your comeback is actually going to be built on who you are for real, who you are becoming, the who God designed you to be. Most women in the season of transition, whether it be empty nesters, closing off a long time career, maybe it's a relationship that's come to an end, any number of things that's caused you to step into a new season. You don't exactly always have a direction problem. You have an identity disconnect. Somewhere along the way, you started living from a version of yourself that survived instead of the version God actually gave you. And until you reconnect to that naming, that divine DNA, your comeback will always feel slightly out of rhythm. You're playing the comparison game and you don't even realize you're doing it. Like you're wearing someone else's shoes on the right path and they're shoes that don't fit. When I talk about divine DNA, I'm talking about the layers God established in you before you ever had a history or a past to recover from. Life changes things, molds us, some good, some bad. It starts to become ingrained in who we are, in our identity. Like the example I gave at the beginning, we measure ourselves up against it. And sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. Inside my program, Dream Forward, we don't just theorize about your divine DNA. We do it, it's a focus on the deeper internal structure that actually guides everything else, everything that you want. The identity God sealed in you before breath, before air was breathed into you, um, before the world told you who you needed to be. Your original sound, your original assignment, your original posture. One of the ladies inside of my group, um, I know exactly, what personality typology she is, but she's internally conflicted because as a child, she was made to be not her true self. The child that her parents wanted was not the identity that she was. So, to please and make her parents happy because she loved them, she stepped out of her identity and she put on the cloak of a new identity to get love, to get appreciation, to be accepted. So it caused an internal conflict. And I understand that's an extreme example, but very real. So when you try to step into a divine calling that the Lord has given you, and you've got so much internal conflict going on, you can still have excitement. You can still have some movement forward. You can still be reaching for resources and investing in this and investing in that and setting yourself up for success. But are you going to get past that second step? No, you're going to keep, as this phrase I keep using, you're going to keep hitting the door frame of the door that's cracked open. I know because I did it. These are the parts of you that refuse to die, and that's your divine DNA, your divine identity. It's the instincts, the sensitivities, the gifts. This individual I'm talking about is so artistically inclined. It's a part of who she is, her divine DNA, and yet it was made to be um, silenced. So you can imagine the amount of damage that piles up after a time. So when you try to step into that calling that you feel so strongly about and you have such passion for, and you're ready to step out on it, and you take that first step, one foot forward, something doesn't feel right. Something keeps pulling you back because it feels foreign. Even though it's a piece of you, it's a part of you, it's who you are, it's foreign. Why? Because it's been suppressed by the world in some form or fashion for so long that stepping into your own skin becomes just absolutely incredibly difficult, frustrating, um, defeating, destructive, and you'll 9 times out of 10 not achieve that dream unless you recognize what's going on. The unique way that you hear God is your spiritual wiring. We experience this through the heart healing, come as you are, heart healing sessions that I have. And I love the way God has a unique language for every person. Some people can actually experience a visual. Some can hear, some through impressions, many different ways, maybe pattern recognition or a prophetic knowing. But this wiring helps make sense of your calling in a way personalities and personality tests never do. Your unburied assignment is your through line. The thing God has been highlighting for years for you, and it may not have a title yet, but like I just said, it has a weight, it has a passion. There's something pulling you definitely, and it has purpose. And once you recognize it, everything that you survived, everything from your past starts to make sense in a different context. And we really dive into this inside of Dream Forward and coming to an understanding and a healing. And this is all part of your divine DNA. This is the core of your comeback season. Yeah, that's a lot, I know. I know. But here's some questions for you to ruminate over. If God were to describe the real you to you, what words would he choose? Not you, not your spouse, not your friends, not your in-laws, not your community. If God were to describe the real you to you, what words would he choose? And which part of yourself have you pushed down or maybe silenced because somewhere along the road you were told you needed to silence that? Where were you carrying somebody else's expectations? If you decided to let those go, if you decided to not live under someone else's expectations tomorrow, you woke up tomorrow and you said, I'm done with that. How would you show up? What would your tomorrow look like? These are not surface questions. They're actually, identity clues. So my encouragement for you today is don't give up on what's in you because we're just getting started. Yeah. So until the next episode, if uh, you are inclined to pursue that dream, let me know in the comments. I'll get Renewed Heart Dreamers directly into your messenger. Have a blessed one.